Hey everybody, Steve from OpenBOM, and in this video I'm going to sum up the April 2022 release of OpenBOM for Onshape end to end. So there's been a lot of individual videos on all of these topics, but I want to talk you through each one of them right now, and let's just build a BOM top down, get part numbers, assign them to the right catalogs. Let's just do it all kind of end to end here. So I'm going to start, we've seen all these in other videos, so I'm going to be brief on these, but I've created my catalogs inside of OpenBOM. I've got castings, and I've got one for molded, and any other, I've got one for electrical. I've set up automatic part numbering, so these catalogs will dispense part numbers in a sequence that's important to my company. So that's the first thing that I've done. And the second thing, I've set up the part number behavior. In Onshape, I have created categories. I'm in Onshape right now. I've created casting, electrical categories, and I've assigned those categories to individual parts in my design. You know, for example, in my components here in my ISO mantle, I've said, look, this happens to be this is a casting. Okay, so I've done that. I've used the OpenBOM settings to map those categories to OpenBOM catalogs. And that's done right here. In any of the flyouts will get you to the settings dialog. And in those settings, I've said, look, for purposes of fetching part numbers and saving things in OpenBOM, anything with a category of casting goes to my castings catalog. Likewise, electrical goes to electrical. If I come across a PCB, it also goes to electrical, you know, sheet metal, etc. I also have a top level called SKUs, and those are by levels. Things I deal with that more in another video, but I keep a separate place for all the top level products that I sell. So I do that by creating those categories in Onshape and assigning them to the parts and assemblies. Okay, so I've done that. I've kind of got my ecosystem set up when I get here to step 4. So step 5, I'm going to start at the top of my design. It's the top of my MH2022. And I'm going to go to the Onshape items flyout in this assembly. And in this next action, we're going to fetch part numbers for all the parts in my assembly that don't have part numbers. So how are we going to do that? We're going to say, okay, look, first of all, use the category settings that I've set up. Next, for anything that doesn't have a category setting or doesn't fit into the right catalog, put that in Onshape items. I kind of use that as a catch-all. And then I'm going to say get part number, and I'm going to read this little message. And this says that I'm going to get part numbers for everything that doesn't have a part number set, and I've got category settings turned on, so I'm going to respect those values of categories and go fetch those part numbers from OpenBOM using those category settings. Okay. So what's going on now is that the OpenBOM for Onshape is dropping through your entire Onshape assembly, looking for parts and assemblies that don't have a part number property value, going out to OpenBOM based on those category settings and retrieving those part number values and assigning them in Onshape. So let's take a look at this fan, for example. I'd expect it to have an electrical part number. Yes, it does. And if I was to look at in my power supply, that's also electrical. Let's look at these guys. I think these are castings. So I would expect items in my castings thing to have a castings part number. Yes, they do. And that's the same for everything else. So I've done that. I've gone out and got part numbers for my entire assembly structure, but I still don't have a BOM yet in OpenBOM. So as the last thing we'll do is, again, from the top level assembly in Onshape, switch back to the BOM tab in OpenBOM, and I'm going to say create a bill of material. So this is the end game. So what we're going to end up with here is a BOM that has all the part numbers assigned based on categories. Keep in mind that all those parts in this assembly, they could have had part numbers. Many of them didn't. But the process that we just went through the entire structure and ensured that we got part numbers from OpenBOM based on my company's settings. And here we go. So here we have a nice looking bill of material with part numbers that came from OpenBOM based on my catalog's settings and have been assigned in Onshape. So that's terrific. And now I want to introduce you to one last command called save item. And, for example, if I came in, I'm going to go back to my ISO mantles here, but if I came back here and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to change the material for this from, granite to some other material. And once I do that, I can say, I'll uncheck this box here, and I'm going to say, look, I'm going to go ahead and save this item. It's just this single item back over to OpenBOM. I recognize that it's in the castings catalog, and I update it. So what you would see then is that change would be present in the bill of material. So anyway, there's individual videos on each one of these actions. That's the April 2022 release, end to end. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you at support@openbom.com. Thanks.